And this is Theory of Limits, Part 7. We continue on to 6, curvature movements between a positive upper limit and a negative lower limit. The sixth type represents the curvature movements between a positive upper limit and a negative lower limit. We have seen this with financial transaction. If interest is levied, the lower limit is reached. If, however, alms tax zakah is paid, the curvature moves towards the upper limit. In between there is a level of payment that can be defined as 0.0. An example of this neutral stage, neither positive nor negative, is an interest-free loan. Hence, fiscal transaction in a given society move by responding to the economic and social needs between the two extremes of A, payments of taxes and charity money, to B, giving loans and with interest, while a middle position is reached if C, interest-free loans are provided. If we take the root meaning of raba, RB wow, ra-ba wow, the Arabic term for interest, we notice that it means growth or increase and expansion of wealth by adding up or piling up. In words such rabiya or rabu, hill, derived from the same root, as we discover similar semantic connotations. Let us first look at verses that mention the term ar-riba. Those who devour usury ar-riba will not stand except as stand one whom the evil one by his touch has driven to madness. That is because they say trade is like usury ar-riba, but God has permitted trade and forbidden usury ar-riba. Those who, after receiving direction from their Lord, desist shall be pardoned for the past. Their case is for God to judge. But those who repeat the offense are companions of the fire. They will abide therein forever. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 275. God will deprive usury ar-riba of all blessing, but will give increase for deeds of charity. For he loves not creatures ungrateful and wicked. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 276. O you who believe, fear God and give up what remains of your demand for usury riba, if you are indeed believers. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 278. If the debtor is in a difficulty, grant him time until it is easy for him to repay. But if you remit it by way of charity, that is best for you if you knew. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 280. O you who believe, devour not usury riba, doubled and multiplied, but fear God that you may really prosper. Surah Al-Imran, verse 130. That which you lay out for increased riba through the property of other people will have no increase with God, but that which you lay out for charity, seeking the countenance of God, will increase. It is these who get a recompense multiplied. Surah Rum, verse 39. O you who believe, eat not up your property among yourself in vanities, but let there be amongst you traffic and trade by mutual goodwill. Nor kill or destroy yourselves, for verily God has been to you most merciful. Surah Nisa, verse 29. From this list of verses, we are able to discern 4 different types of interest. A. Interest of sadaqah. God will deprive usury of all blessing, but will give increase of deeds of charity. For he loves not creatures ungrateful and wicked. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 276. B. Interest on zakah. That which you lay out for increase through the property of other people will have no increase with God, but that which you lay out for charity, seeking the countenance of God, will increase. It is these who will get a recompense multiplied. Surah Rum, verse 39. C. An upper limit for acceptable interest. O you who believe, devour not usury, doubled and multiplied, by fear God that you may really prosper. Surah Al-Imran, verse 130. D. A 0.0. If you do it not, take notice of war from God and his apostle, but if you turn back, you shall have your capital sums. Deals not unjustly, and you shall not be dealt with unjustly. Surah Baqarah, verse 279. Based on verses from the book, we propose a flexible banking system which can incorporate, if need be, interest on loan provided that the limits set by Allah are observed, but which can also prevent interest being charged at an exorbitant rate, usury. Our proposal is based on the belief that the book does not categorically and unconditionally prohibit the charging of interest, and we do not follow either Muhammad or Umar bin Khattab's conclusive veto against it. Instead, we maintain that the three possible ways of money transfer within a society corresponds to the movement suggested between an upper and lower limit. 1. Zakah. This is a special type of charity since it is defined as an alms tax for the benefit of the poor and handicapped who are adherents of Muhammad, Muslim believers. It corresponds to the absolute minimum of money transfer, a lower limit of sadaqah fixed as 2.5% of supra income that cannot be reduced. 2. Sadaqah. This is a general type of charity called Sadaqat al-Islam, whose recipients are the poor and handicapped, whether they believe in Muhammad's message or not. There exists no upper limit and each contribution is voluntary. The lower limit of sadaqah is the payment of zakah. There are therefore two different kinds of sadaqah. 1. General sadaqah for everyone. It is not righteousness that you turn your face towards east or west, but it is righteousness to believe in God and the last day and the angels and the book and the messengers, to spend of your substance. Ata al-mal, out of love for him, for your dhul qurba, for the yatama, and for the masakin, for the ibn sabil, and for those who are as-sa'ilin, and those who are fir raqab, to be steadfast in prayer and practice regular charity, zakah, to fulfill the contracts which you have made, to be firm and patient in pain or suffering and adversity, and throughout all periods of panic. Such are the people of truth, the God-fearing. Surah Baqarah, verse 177. 2. Specific sadaqah for the Muslim believers paid as zakah. Alms sadaqat are for the fuqara and the masakin, and those who are al-amilina alayha, for those who are al-mu'allafa qulubuhum, for those fir raqab and al-gharimin, fi sabilillah, and for the ibn sabil. Thus it is ordained by God, and God is full of knowledge and wisdom. Surah Tawbah, verse 60. Thank you for following Theory of Limit Part 7. Part 8 is next. Let us hear your thoughts.